We started making fashion. The fashion fits the woman, not the other way around. She is not changing herself to fit the fashion. Having the offline presence is very important. The touch and feel, the fit, comfort that this is my size, and every brand has a different size. It gives the customer the trust. Your store managers, your store people are all your R&D because they are the face and the eyes and the ears for where they're selling. So we don't have any cabins in our organization. We just have one glass door cabin, which is also glass door. It's an open office. I can see everybody, everybody can see me. I love my product. I love creating
product. Are you a designer?
No, not by education. I'm a designer only by exposure. Creativity is not when you have a free hand. Creativity gets enhanced when you don't have a free hand and you're able to create the best out of it. If you don't embrace change, you'll be stagnant. Just focus on your product, your customer, and your supply chain. Everything else will happen.
In a country where retail is either legacy-run or trend-chasing, Akshika Podar stands out for doing neither. They didn't just inherit an export business, they transformed it. They took the B2B machine, added a clear eye for design, a sharp instinct for scale, and built something rare, quite literally. House of Rare isn't just a clothing label. It's a statement on what Indian fashion can be, rooted in identity, but made for the world. While most brands were busy chasing volume, they focused on voice. Quietly, deliberately, they built a D2C powerhouse, now backed by the likes of A91, Nikhil Kamath, and the Manyavar Group. 100 crores in profit, 69% revenue growth, expansion beyond borders. And all this while raising 3 children and leading with a calm that is quite frankly uncommon. This is Akshika Podar, co-founder of the House of Rare, the creative force behind the Rare Rabbit, Rareism, Rare Ones, and Rare Z. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much, Akshika. I think it meant the world when you sent that message saying yes, had the connect. But when I saw you today for the first time, what a calm demeanor you have. I think that's something that, I was nervous coming in for some reason and I was thinking that I should do good by you. And then when I saw you, it felt like home. It felt so comfortable. It feels comfortable. Where do you get that calm demeanor from?
Let me first thank you by having me here. It's a pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you the first time when you called and asked me to have a conversation with you. Let's put it like that. To answer your question about calmness, I think journeys teach you that. As you go, I was not a very calm person, and in fact, probably my kids and my friends will tell me you're not calm from any angle. But yeah, at work and anything related to your professional life, calmness works the best. It's a very easy way then to, solve issues and connect with people. I don't see, hyper just creates chaos. So I live by the mantra of being calm.
Is there somebody you took this inspiration from, or was it all experience?
I think this is more experience, self-learning experience, going along with the flow. I've had my aggressive phases, yes, but this works better.
Amazing how much self-reflection can do to you, right?
Absolutely. I'm all about self-reflection.
That's amazing. So to start the first segment, Akshika, I want to know, House of Rare came about after a good stint in exporting. How did the shift happen? Why the shift? How the shift? And how did you think about doing this? Because it's not very common, at least when you started, it was not very common. An export house is so comfortable, having a big chunk of their marketing being done by somebody else. And going into domestic business is very different. Going into retail is very, very different. How did you manage to make that decision?
So, when we jumped into retail, it was more out of passion and sheer conviction that when we were exporters, the designs were coming from our end to the buyers abroad. Okay. So usually it's the other way around. Yes. They give you the direction, they give you what they want, and they give you all the specifications. Right. Here, the inspiration was from us to them, and they would pick and choose and then give their specifications of the sizes, etc., etc. That gave us one confidence that we are able to create. And when you're able to create and you're exporting, you feel, why not bring this to your own country such a nice, large, ripe market. And menswear, when we started, there was hardly any fashion brands. There were lots of menswear brands, but fashion creative brands were far and few between and not so accessible. And if you ask me scale and so large, it happened along the way. So you start with something you believe in, concentrate on the product, and then as and when it increases, now is when you have 5-year, 10-year vision plans rather than having your 5-year, 10-year. It was about starting and it will do well. That conviction was there. That's how we started
That's amazing.
retail.
And how about the transition? See, D2C from a B2B, like we just spoke, you had the know-how of creating something. But can you tell me, if you've ever had doubts, shifting from this to that, it could not have been very easy. It looks very smooth. You guys have made it look so smooth from the outside. But it could have been daunting. Were there times when you thought, okay, are we sure we want to go this path? Is it working for us?
So I would say, according to me, having the offline presence is very important because it gives the customer the trust, the touch and feel, the fit, comfort that this is my size, and every brand has a different size. And you may be a large in something and a small in something else. So it's all very personal, right? And even in shoes that happens. So the minute you have an offline presence, it gives that first customer or the first set of customers, the relationship building is what I would call it. Then you start online because it reaches a larger audience. You're able to access it from different parts of the country and, from any city that you're sitting in. With our infrastructure that we've built so far, it's very easy. The logistics have become so much easier. So we decided to get into D2C. Yes, there were lots of learning in D2C as well. Lots of roadblocks, a lot of understanding about your performance marketing, all the matrices that you have to look at in this field. COVID was very helpful in scaling the D2C business.
Okay.
And that's when, because there was nothing offline at that time, right? And then we went in aggressively into the online segment at that time. And since then, it's been hand in hand. There were, like you asked me for hitches, there were hitches. We were two different websites at one point where Rare Rabbit was different and Rareism was different. But that was just adding to a lot more, I would say, cost, and also a lot more manpower and thought going. The main management is dividing themselves into two. So very recently we decided to merge the two and have it under one website and one app, which has helped us a lot as well, because the whole marketing, the logistics, everything comes under one roof. So it's very helpful, and I would say it's a great combination for anybody to have the D2C and offline present, or even marketplace. So it kind of, you're spreading your wings everywhere.
Absolutely. And I think in today's times, we need it, right? We have to be available where customers are looking.
Can you imagine quick commerce? Yes. Right? So if quick commerce can, and India is a pro at quick commerce. Yeah. I think one of the few countries that is really, I think, nailing it. So with quick commerce coming in, customer is king today. You just have to. If you're not there, you're missing.
In fact, yesterday I needed a shirt for something, and I was looking into Blinkit. If I could get something, because I had 10 minutes and I had to get something in that 10 minutes. Correct. I think we are moving into a world that is
super fast.
I would have never imagined this 10 years
gratification.
Back. Instant
Sometimes I'm
gratification,
not sure
that's the word.
If it's really that good, because we might just become lazier. But it's the need of the hour, so you embrace what's happening and not sit and overthink it.
Is it easy to embrace what is needed so quickly? Because you put in a lot of efforts into building something, being somewhere today. Right, to be somewhere, to share profits, to share your, for instance, you have to pay a 30% to be on a website today or a quick commerce site. To constantly keep moving, you would have put in effort somewhere, and then again you have to move in. How do you look at it?
That's the whole fun of it. If you don't embrace change, you'll be stagnant. So, but of course, you have to be very mindful of what change you accept, at what time you accept. If you just jump in because it's the new fad, yes, it does not work. So you have to understand it, take your time, sit on your drawing board again, do the evaluations, but we're all for embracing change if it makes sense to us.
If you have to tell somebody today, right, if they want to move into the D2C space, You did it many years ago. How is it today? Could you give me something very honestly? What do you think? Do you think it's a good market to get into at this point?
It's a very good market to get into. Please, I would tell people first make sure that your product is what you want to launch. You're very sure of your product. You have a customer out there which needs that product. And if it doesn't need the product, how can you create the need, right? Like a whole lot of things are needs that were not required or not there, but they are creating the needs. So it's a very smart move, I would say. So either you have the customer already, or how is your product going to start creating the need? So that's one evaluation. Once you've done that evaluation, the next big, in my opinion, is be very careful or be very strategically planned. Where is your budget? And what is your budget at? Because it's a huge, well, you can put in as much as you want. You may or may not get your ROIs rightly. So watch your matrices carefully. Make sure that your inventory of whatever product or service that you're launching online is with certain specifics, and where to tweak it if it is not getting you the right ROIs, like I mentioned earlier. Product, customer, and your entire plan is very important with the right matrices.
So we're saying creating needs. I want to ask you, was there a time or was there a moment when you realized that something you created was creating the need for people to come and buy?
So what we started at Redism, I'll be specific about, is we started making fashion that doesn't fit, the fashion fits the woman, not the other way around. She's not changing herself to fit the fashion. So that was one of our biggest launch lines, and we wanted to declutter the mind of women who are, on the go, busy, don't have to think of, oh God, what do I wear? How will this pair? So many things to it, right? Today, the Desk to Dinner line of Redism especially is made for that personality who gets up in the morning, goes to work, can go out for a dinner after that without having to think of carrying another outfit or coming back home and changing, and etc. Travel friendly. So we have all of these lines which ease the woman's wardrobe. So that was one of our, plans to create needs.
That means you would have a really, really strong R&D team, right? Because today for textile, because you talk about different fabrics, you talk about morning to night, that means you have to wonder about the climate. You're putting this, for instance, I come from Chennai, I can't wear a satin dress, which could be a part of your line, but I could not be wearing it because I am in a certain... So there must be so much research and development happening on a day-to-day basis. Can you tell me how important it is today to have a strong team that works on understanding where you're putting your things out in?
So the team is, of course, of utmost importance here. It's also about empowering the people who are sitting in those regions. Now, of course, when you're talking to a country which has got different climates in every segment, even within the region, it's got 3 different, like Chennai and Bangalore, they're completely different, even though they're just a few 100 kilometers away. You do your R&D with a little bit of an agency. Then you also do local R&D of what kind of fabrics and this thing. We do try and shy away from a majority of polyester anyway, so that it's all breathable fabric. Your store managers, your store people are all your R&D, because they are the face and the eyes and the ears for where they're selling. So it's a very important, we have weekly review meetings with all our stores where they come back with their feedback. This will sell in their market and this will not sell in their market. So you have your line made like that this is your core which can go to every region. And then you also have smaller portions that this will be bought for the south, this will be bought for the north, and your markets like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Bombay, Guwahati, etc., etc. So yeah, that's what R&D involves.
As you were speaking, I'm just wondering how you manage inventory, because you must be having so much going on, right? I don't know how it is. From the inside, can you tell me, Akshika, inventory is something that can become very overwhelming, especially for smaller retailers.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you've managed it when you were smaller, and as you scale, what are the things that you really look at, when it comes to inventory management? Because this is very intriguing for me, because I come a little from the textile background. I always find that it is, export houses are easier to manage in some way because you get the orders, right? You know how much to maintain, what is going to be recurring. But here, when you are speaking retail, there might be one line that's doing phenomenally well. You have some, tens of thousands of orders coming in for the same product. On the other side, there may be a line that's not working well, but you've planned it in your head. You have the fabrics ready. You're just waiting to manufacture it. Is it not overwhelming? What are your biggest takeaways when it comes to inventory management?
Inventory, in my opinion, is one of the most important conversation points in any retail and apparel, all the more. Because you can, like you said, you can never know what's going to, you have a sense, but you don't know for sure. So it's very important from the word go to involve all the stakeholders, who's selling where. Like you have the offline stores, I'm going to be very simple, the EBOs, our own stores. Then you have the multi-brand stores. Then you have your large format stores like Shoppers, and who's going to want how much. Be very calculative of that. Have your guardrails in place of, this much extra, this much not extra. What we also do is have a lot of good connections with our supply chain, so that there is certain things that it's selling. So very, very watchful of how much more and what's your turnaround time, etc. So it's a huge department.
Yes.
And you have to be very cognizant of not overbuying, not underbuying, because both are make or breaks. So there's a very fine balance, and you have to be on top of that game.
Because I was reading somewhere an article about House of Rare and how closely you work with your suppliers.
Right.
Right, and you take them, like you said, the stakeholders are all involved in this entire process. When it's not in-house, trying to get them to understand where you come from is such an integral part of growing together, growing bigger, right? Can you tell me a little about how you work with your suppliers? What sort of an attitude you need to have that sort of trust? Because trust is such an important part of this entire value chain, I would call. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So suppliers are your, I would say, in a large sense, your backbone. And if you're going to build your trust, and we're very, I think I would proudly say that we're very, very hand in hand with our suppliers. We've built our relationships. We have built our trust. Taking care of your suppliers and their system is very important. It is very important in our organization, and that comes from top down. Supplier is what do you do without a good supplier? And I think most of our suppliers would do. There are times when your MOQs are so small, but they'll happily do it.
It speaks volumes about values you hold, because trust is very difficult to form.
Absolutely, yeah.
And in the long run to have that.
And then it's a very easy, smoother journey, right? Because they're there for you, you're there for them. So it's a hand-in-hand exchange all the time.
It's amazing. So what are these principles that really hold you together, Akshika? We have visions, but we don't all, in our day-to-day, right? I find that many companies, they're not able to stick to the vision because there is a mix of intuition and data available, constantly, because we live in a world where we collect so much data, and then you have this intuition, and then you have a vision that you want to follow. And unless you have a great foundation, or, there are some strong principles that hold you and, keep you in that place, it's very difficult to form this sort of a good, strong team internally and externally. So what are the principles that really hold you together today?
If you ask me, team-wise, believe, trust. I know they're both same meanings in a large way, but one is that you believe in their abilities. Then you trust that they will do the right things, right? So there are two differences here. Independence. Give them the freedom of making their decisions, their choices, and all of that within a framework of your principles.
Right.
That you cannot not pay the supplier on time. You cannot, like any supplier who comes to our company will probably eat lunch with us. If so there's a relationship that you have with everything. Now, if you ask me to define our principles, we've never sat down and defined them. This is who we are, and that's what trickles down to every department or every attachment to our organization. So we don't have any cabins in our organization. We just have one glass door cabin, which is also glass door. And unless it's a very hush, which is very rare and once in a year kind of thing, anybody can walk into our cabin. So it's a very shared space. It's an open office. I can see everybody can see me.
That's amazing.
So that's how I think. So from when you're working like that, it spreads outside as well. So there's no barriers, there's no hidden doors. It's all very open and honest. If you ask me to define principles, I don't think I've ever thought about it because it just comes so intrinsically and it spreads outwards as well.
I'm actually very shocked that you said you have no doors, no walls.
Yeah.
Just an open office.
It's a completely open office. We have 4 floors rather. The ground floor is the sampling. The first floor is our cabin and the top management. The second floor and then the third floor is the online department. But none of them have doors.
Wow.
Yeah. Except one little glass cabin that we have.
My God. I mean, speaks volumes about the people you are because I rarely find people who can say something to your face and say the same thing, elsewhere. Not go behind you and talk something. I mean, the amount of trust you must be building just because of that is
so, Avinya, it's
unfathomable. Today, I mean, how transparent can we be, right? And
the more transparent you are, the more transparent the opposite side is because there is nothing to hide. So I don't understand the concept of a closed door cabin at all. I mean, I think I hardly even sit in my cabin. I don't remember the last time I sat in my cabin for more than 15 minutes in the day because I'm always on the floor at somebody else's cabin or somebody else's section or desk rather than my own because they're working there. I need something from them. I'll go to them and yeah, that's how we work.
That's amazing. I think I was going to ask you about this, finance, strategy, marketing, planning. There are so many things within the firm, right? What are you extremely passionate about in all this? Because, I don't know, I find somewhere our hearts sit in one place sometimes and you take a little backseat in other places. But I feel like you're such a beautiful strategist, but I want to hear from you. I mean, please, I'm not putting words into your mouth, but
right.
I really want to hear about what Akshika does in a day. I mean, or, what are the portfolios you love working on and what is it that you love doing within House of Rare?
Lots of things that I love doing. I love my product. I love creating product.
Are you a designer? If I'm
No, not by education. I'm a designer only by exposure and keeping my eyes and ears and senses very open. So I think I engage with all my senses at most places, so which gives you a lot of inspiration. But that goes down. We have a very good design team, so they are very good at their work, and they are very they challenge themselves every season. So it's very exciting to see them. Oh, I didn't like my collection this time. I'm going to do it better next season. So they're a beautiful team. So design is the product development is something that I really enjoy. You can enjoy that. You can go berserk over there, but then your finance is equally important because your entire sphere depends on what you have and what you can do and what you can then get back, and so that the finance department is equally important. And I actually love finance as well. I like the whole crunching, and I keep telling my team, creativity is not when you have a free hand. Creativity gets enhanced when you don't have a free hand and you're able to create the best out of it. I think there's a lot more fun in that. So that goes hand in hand, and then your other things. Then there's always going to be a tussle between the buying team and the design, because the designers will dream and the buying and the allocation team has to sell. So they want to show their sell-throughs. So there's a lot of, so then I'll be involved with them as well. And then you have to you have to do a balance, right? Like that, this is which will sell for sure. But if you don't add the creative or the newness, then it's boring. So please don't like look at only your. So how to balance that? So that's a very interesting department as well that I love. Then the other department I love is marketing. It's so much. There's so much excitement there. What's the next strategy of marketing? What kind of audience building? What kind of communication has to go out? Because you can create the most beautiful campaigns and ads, and but if it isn't relatable or it's not tying back in some way or the other to your product, it gets lost. So I think these are mainly I love spending time with my sampling team because no, tweak it like this. I want it like this. Like, no, ma'am, this is not commercially possible. But then we'll find a middle ground and do this. So I think all the departments are exciting.
I think I see that golden line, you like to solve, I won't call them problems, but you like to have a solution for what could be a problem or what. Yeah. I mean, you like the solution. You like, exactly.
You kind of see the challenge and then you just kind of sit down and say, okay, let's work. Yeah. And something or the other always comes out.
I mean, such a creative aspect of running a business,
yes.
Right?
I think so too.
So can you tell me a little bit about your team, Akshika? It seems to be something very open, very creative, very energetic. What is your team like?
My team is my family. I love the people I know, I love them all. We have about 300 plus people today in our corporate office here. I would know most of them and probably their personal lives too. So the team is very close to us. They are very passionate about what they do. They just immerse themselves into the organization. I would say from day one, we've got like such wonderful new joinees as well, and they throw themselves into it because I think I personally would like to say that they enjoy themselves. That's what I see. Of course, there's a lot of work and there is a lot of pressure, but I don't see them breaking under pressure. And if one or two times there's something that happens, we're there to guide them, we're there to help them. So I think that the team is a very young and passionate team that we have. Some of them I have actually, surprised me by even tattooing Rare on their body. Which was, I was blown. I was like, my God, this is...
What an impression.
This becomes a responsibility because, somebody's believing in you so much and then you're all the more, like it's a bit difficult sometimes to be on that pedestal that they're believing in this thing called Rare with so much heart that they've tattooed. So it's very interesting.
I would... responsibility is an understatement. Yes. You have so much more riding on you, right? I do want to get to that part. Tell you what kind of person you are hiring just across the table. What is that one question you ask when you're hiring, Akshika?
Are you ready to deep dive and give it your best and all? It's very important that they feel connected to what they're doing. Because I feel when you love what you're doing, it's not work anymore. It just makes you want to get up and go and itch, and so that's what I would know or ask everybody I hire. If it's a department or a job that this is your area or your field that you absolutely love, and why do you love it? So you kind of get your answers there of how passionate this person is about the work that they might take up.
Going into responsibilities, so when I read these numbers, I won't say I was shocked, but I was so intrigued to understand. There was, I don't want to call it a spike, but you had a 69% growth and you reached a certain number in net profits, right? And it was quite the jump because 69 is a huge number, the net profit being 100 crores, and then you have your... then you have great people backing you now, from bootstrapping into, a funded company by names like Nikhil Kamath and, the Manyava Group. Responsibility. On one side, it must be very exciting, I'm sure, but how do you take that Does it make you more responsible, as a business house? How do you look at funding, from bootstrapping into funding? Because I see that many people prefer being in the zone of bootstrapping. I won't call it comfort. Maybe it's comfortable for them, but they want to still keep it, uptight and close. And then when you go into funding, it's a whole other ball game, right? How have you looked at it? I mean, the
So I'll
recent
tell
years.
you,
Years.
we were bootstrapped for the longest time. Funding, and I'll just correct you here, but our main funder is this fund called A91.
A91. Okay.
A91, and Nikhil Kamath and Manyavar are also part of it, but our main funder is A91. And we were, of course, contemplating whether yes, whether no, should we, because there are lots of other paraphernalia that comes along when you get an outside voice, let's say, into the organization, which has their skin in the game now, right? And they're also going to be a part of your decision making, etc. I would say yes. First, it's very important who you choose to be on your board and as a funder, because there could be various kinds. One who's looking at a top line and aggressive growth. One who would look at your business, the way you run it, what is the core values, and a sustainable long-term growth. So that was one of our reasons of choosing the partners that we chose. I would say if you get the right people, it's all about the right conductors and bus drivers and the right people on the bus, right? Then it's a beautiful journey. So if your value systems match, then it's a great place to be in, because wherever you need advice, they're there to advise you. Where you are feeling should I not, they'll nudge you in the right direction. But they also are very cognizant of letting us make the decision eventually, because it's something that you've built so far, and then you're going to obviously want to make it bigger. So it's a very great partnership here. So far it's been interesting. But yes, when the day we signed and the way I think we were very, we felt a little nervous, because the responsibility is not just to yourselves anymore. It's to your team, it's to your organization, it's to the people who've believed in you and come on board. So the responsibility, it's not excitement, it's more of, God, now I need to really pick my game up. So it's then you smooth back into your day-to-day things, because it just falls back. It's just that initial this thing, but no, it's been nice. So I would say anybody who wants to take on any kind of investment or funding, and look at who you are taking, meet them enough, have many conversations, get to know each other. It's almost like a marriage, right? And you don't want the marriage to go bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. I will take your time with it.
Yes.
Very interesting term that you used, that when we chose the people that were coming on board. How do you make a brand? How do you build a brand that gets to choose who they fund, Akshika? What do you think has been your key takeaway? I'm sure you didn't think about it so deeply when you were working to building the brand, but today from where you sit, can you tell me what really worked for you?
So, we never had this thought, Gayatri, about ever thinking, like, there was no thought of taking it to the level of funding or the further growth. It was all about passion. It was all about how can I make it reach into different parts and then take it. It was all about product, customer, growth within our sensibility. There was nothing about, so you don't focus on the end game before you start it. You start building it, and if it's worth it, the things will come to you. Yeah, we've never thought of these things. Yeah, so when we got these offers, and I remember we were sitting and talking, really, like, should we not? Like, what do we do? Is it a good idea? And then, of course, things made sense. We spoke about it more, and then we went in it the way we thought, with the people we thought connected most with. And but you don't build a business. In my opinion, you don't build a business just for the sake of funding or IPOs or whatever.
Where are you headed next? Are you looking at IPO at some point today where you stand?
Life will, the growth will take you where it has to take you. So again, we're all about enjoying the journey, and something will come out what has to come out.
I think the word you use, sensibility, right? Sticking to.
Just focus on your product, your customer, and your supply chain. Everything else will happen.
fantastic.
Whatever has to happen.
You know, when I was trying to study and understand, there are certain global brands, right, who have taken a certain path and they are present. Like, for instance, a Zara or an H&M. They have this, they have a great community of people buying from them. And, when you look at some clothes from their stores, you know it's from there, right? There's a fine line of difference. You take a Zara or an H&M, there's a fine line. You know who's who, but you know it. There's an identity there. If Rareism or if House of Rare had to have an identity, what do you think you want to be known for in the style sense? What do you want to be identified for?
Quality and fashion, like I said earlier, is a fashion that fits you. So I would want to, like you're asking me this question, where and what is Rareism's identity? It would be fashion that fits the woman and not the other way around. The Rareism customer will seek comfort with style.
For me, that means a lot more R&D, because here you're catering to the Indian women, Indian men. When you go beyond seas, right, it involves a lot more work with regards to fit, comfort, with fabric, and you want to be known for it. How much effort does it take? Because it's huge, right?
It is, and it takes a lot of effort.
Does it scare you at all? I mean,
I don't think the word scared. Yes, there is a little bit of, like we spoke about, eustress before every collection launch. But because I think we've done so much, we keep going back. Okay, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what fits have worked, which fits have worked in which region, which silhouettes have worked in each region. So when you work within that framework and then have innovation, it works better.
So there's a method to working around that stress as well.
Yes.
That's, it's very informative. Because sometimes I feel it can get a little bit overwhelming because there's something suddenly gushing. But you would be a little prepared, but it's still a lot of gushing.
It is,
right?
And in every collection, every year we drop 2 seasons, and within that season we have multiple drops. Every drop, every season, every collection is a learning, and what worked, what didn't work, and then you sit and improvise again, and then you sit and reiterate certain things that have worked. So it's a constant learning journey. You cannot, you can never be fully satisfied. 1, 2, if you don't look back at what hasn't worked or has worked, you'll, I think, start from zero again, which makes no sense. So keep looking back at data. Data is an extremely, extremely important tool for you. So maintain and manage your data really well. So that data inflow is extremely important. And for trends and what's going to work and what's not going to work, rather than, of course, the websites and the portals that are available for the trend forecasting is very important. But as much as you can travel, we travel a lot as a team, and keep your eyes and ears open to everything that kind of calls to you. And there are so many different aspects. Like, I was telling somebody the other day, you take inspiration from everything around you. It shouldn't just be your, like, of course, you get your inspiration for the colors of the season from the nature, because nature itself provides you a lot of inspiration. Then there are small regional inspirations. The other trip of mine to Japan, when it's very interesting, okay? So Japanese people are very clean, cut, simple, straight-lined. To the extent that even when I went to one of these stores, they're so focused on quality and precision that their cash desk in any retail store will have line markings. That my notebook or my cash register has to be within that. It cannot be tilted. So whatever the measurement of their register is marked. So it has to sit within that. And it was something so interesting for me. When they give you their shopping bag, like whatever your carry bag is, right? They'll always tape it up with the foam where you're holding it, because it shouldn't hurt your arm when you're walking, your palm when you're walking, because otherwise those heavy shopping. So these are the things you carry back, and that you inspire into. So if quality and precision can reach that level, is what inspires us. And then we came up with the Japano collection.
Yes, I
Yeah,
read
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So you spoke about two different things in this conversation, especially this answer that you gave me. One is about the strong need for data and looking into data. And the other one is the softer side of instincts, right? Balancing both is something that is very difficult. In fact, this morning I was speaking to somebody who was telling me that in India, right, the mindset is that, not even mindset, the numbers show that you may have data in front of you. Your decisions are not necessarily based on the data. It was so evident, especially in the Indian system, that people are not, leaning towards data completely, but there was something called instinct, there was something called, the heart, right, that was coming through.
So, yeah, I get you. It's very important, and this is a thing that we very closely work with. There has to be instinct, there has to be inspiration, there has to be your heart. But if it's not data backed, and when I say data, you have to really sit and analyze your data to the T, that this is what my data says, this is how it's analyzed, and this is how it can then shift. Then you attach your heart and your instinct. It's a work of hand in hand. You cannot rely on either or. It has to be both. So that's what we do.
That's really amazing, and you have such a beautiful, very open space to communicate all of this, and I think it comes together so beautifully in your system.
It does,
right?
Yeah.
Today, if a small retailer has just opened a store, first store, I would say, what is the one thing that you would tell them to go by? I know it's a very broad term in the sense, say for instance, from the textile industry, they are going into retail today, because we spoke a little bit about, off camera, we spoke a little bit about competition, more people coming into the system.
Yeah.
It's pretty overwhelming when you see that there are so many stores that are already there. And if I'm making my first store work, what do you think they should be looking at? And where do you think their focus should really be?
So open the store in the right market. Your market will depend on what your product is. What kind of customer are you targeting, and stay true to that. Like when we started, we had a few muses in our minds, this is the woman I want to dress. This is the woman I would like her to shop at. So that has to be a very, very big focus. And where would this woman shop? I can be so focused on the woman who I want to create for, but if I'm putting her in a market, or I'm putting Realism in a market which is disconnected, does it make any sense? So the product to market fit is very important. Again, this is my opinion. Start small, grow along. Don't start big and then contain yourself down, because that's a very difficult shift. When you start small and you grow steadily, it becomes much more exciting.
As you were telling me, I was just thinking, we are in a market where the gaps are very thin. If I were to cater to something today, there might already be 4 or 5 people in that space, right? How do you look at gaps today? Do we need to look at gap to start something?
You need to look at gaps, but within the gap or within the framework that's already there, like they say, right, every individual is different. Similarly, what you create or what your team creates together will be different than what it is. So, do identify the gap. But if you have to create something that's already available, what's your differentiating factor will play out. Have patience.
Have patience. I think that's the right term for all of us today, right? We want that fast, express growth.
Nothing comes without patience.
I'm learning that now. Just a little bit about you. More about you, Akshika. You're a mother of 3, and as a parent of 3, I find myself feeling very overwhelmed some days, and to be building something that needs your constant attention, right? That's also a child. Today morning I was explaining to somebody that, if you're running a business, don't look at it differently. It's like your child, right? And you need to be there, be available. But that makes it 4 children for you today. How do you make that work? Because that's the first question people ask me, how are you doing this, right? And I say I have a lot of help, but I know that there's a lot more to it than just the help, right? How have you been doing it? Because for me, it's a personal inspiration to, know and learn about this.
So, you're right. 4 children I have. I'm thinking of having the 5th child as well. So, I think if your heart is in the right place, you'll give equal attention to all. I practice, it's called a phenomenon or it's called a mindset called essentialism.
Essentialism.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a book I was gifted by a friend. And when I read it, it's about saying no to things that you must say no to because it's not a part of your bandwidth. That gives you so much clarity to work with the things that you want to concentrate on or want to achieve or want to build, right? So there are lots of sacrifice. I wouldn't call it a sacrifice. It's about decision to not do this because it won't suit my lifestyle or it won't suit the day that I have or the requirements that I have to do as a mom, as a working person, as my own self, because self-care is very important. So you divide your day like that and you be focused at that time on that thing. And I think, it's a very different example, but a lot of our grandmothers, I don't know if you know, they had like 10, 15 children. And all their children loved them. They loved all their children. They didn't differentiate. If they were able to bring up 14 children, we're bringing up 4 or 5. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, so, and giving them, like, I believe in giving independence to my children. I believe in giving independence to the team here as well. So, there's a lot of beauty in that, where you're the mother there everywhere, but you're also giving them the space to grow. So which works. Well, I think
A lot for me to take back home today.
Yeah, and you'll be a much happier leader or mother if you're content. So you follow your passion first, then the rest will fall into place.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. See, we grow a brand, we grow, a business, right? As the business grows, we also grow along with it. So who was Akshika earlier and who is she today? What has the growth been like for you, the internal journey, if you can speak a little to me about?
Akshika yesterday was a very carefree dreamer, always itching to do something. I've never been able to sit still. But I've learned so much along the journey. You were asking me, how are you so calm? So I learned how to be calm and how much more work gets done when you're calm. I've learned resilience, a lot of patience, because then you're dealing with so many people. The importance of responsibility is something, because as you grow, there's so many, it's not just about you anymore. It's about a really large set of people, and you're responsible for them makes you turn back and want to grow this into a much more larger place, because they've believed in you and it's time for you to give back and help them grow in their journey. So I think responsibility, resilience, continuous learning, that's something that I really have this thing. And always be a sponge, because the more you keep yourself open to hearing advice, do what you want, because we're all people who have to follow what we believe in. But don't be resistant to listening at all. So be a good listener. I was a terrible listener at one point, and I thought I knew it all. I've learned to listen, and I think it serves me very well.
Wow. I was just going to ask you about feedback. Receiving feedback.
I love feedback. Any feedback. I still remember the first feedback, one of the first feedbacks that I got when I started Rerism was very contrary to what I wanted to hear. And I could have been like, oh my God, what have I done? It's terrible. And that person was very generous to give it to me honestly. And I still respect her for that. She's like, no, it's not what, I expected from you. And that gave me so much more of an internal challenge to hear the right feedback or a good feedback from her. And that gave me a purpose. It gave me a sense of drive that, God, I haven't impressed her. I have to impress her, which is amazing. I love such people.
That's amazing. I mean, was it validation you were looking for, or just something to make yourself better in the process?
No, this was just an honest feedback. She didn't like the collection. And so, I mean, all of us look for validation, which is not a bad thing at all. But you also should be open to critical and constructive feedback. So I think both go hand in hand again. For me, everything goes like together. If you get validation, if you get that encourages you to continue doing what you're doing, but if you get constructive feedback which doesn't set right with you at that moment, take it up, learn from it, and get better. It's as simple as that. Don't take it to heart. Nothing is to be taken to heart.
It's amazing. I mean, to understand feedback like that is very tough.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that, because some days I've had it very tough. Then I realize, okay, I have to, like you said,
Yeah,
I think I started off as a very bad, I could not take feedback so
Right.
easily. But now I've come to a point where it's important, because they are the
Very
people you're
important, yeah.
targeting,
And
you're speaking
there are
to.
times when I'll have this conversation. Don't give me what I want to hear. Give me what I wouldn't want to hear, because only then will I be able to make improvements, right? Because you've put your best foot forward, and that best foot forward may not be the right foot. So then it's very important to iterate and make the changes along the way, and that's very nice.
We spoke a little bit about intuition. See, I truly believe that when you enter a room and you're making decisions, right, it plays a huge role in your decision making, your intuition, what you lean towards, and what kind of a personality you are, what you carry around with you, what your thoughts are. So this segment is designed to help the viewers understand the way Akshika looks at things, how she decodes things, and how she decides. So you can choose more than one, but your orientation, I mean, it would always be one thing to start with, right? I mean, the first thing that comes to your mind.
Is it like a rapid fire kind
It's
of
not
thing?
a rapid fire.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you about 4 to 5 questions, and I'll give you 4 options you can choose from.
Okay.
So you can tell me where you lean towards.
Right. Okay, got it.
And by the end of it, I hope you also have a takeaway from this. I will tell you where you are leaning towards and what kind of a personality you could be. And you tell me if I'm right
That
or wrong.
resonates, yeah?
Yes?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
sounds
we'll
fun.
dive into it very quickly. So I'm going to give you scenarios and you tell me how you think. Right? So the first one, in a leadership meeting, I'm going to give you 4 options. You can choose 1, 2, 3, but in an order if possible. A, you talk about the future. B, you check on the team's morale. C, focus on execution. Or D, review numbers.
So I would talk about the future growth. You said number 2 was morale. Third was
Execution, focus on execution. And 4 was review.
execution. Then I would do numbers, and then I would check on the team morale.
When growth stalls, you reimagine the model that you've been going with, or you re-energize the team, because it's very important, Integra. You tighten the product market fit, or you audit and optimize. Where do you lean towards?
So here I would say I would energize the team. Second, I would tighten the market fit. So the third one is the reimagine the model. And then last would be audit and
Optimize.
yeah.
Okay. When you're hiring for a key role within your firm, choose long-term fit, choose the listener, choose detailed executor, or choose fast deliverer. You can choose one. It need not be in any order. You can just choose one also if you wish to.
No, I would choose a fast deliverable, then a more long-term fit. The third would be a listener. It's a combination of all. That's
But what comes to you
yeah,
first? This is what I want in a key role.
I think it would be the detailed deliverable with fast. Yeah.
So you have 2 ones there.
Yeah.
Why not? Okay. What excites you today, Akshika? Building a legacy brand, proud and seen, teams, creative customer connect, or growth benchmarks?
First would be legacy brand. So my 2 would be team and customer centric product.
Okay.
And third would be the growth benchmarks.
After a milestone, what do you normally do? You plan your next leap, you celebrate the team, you reflect on your creativity, or document and scale?
So the first thing is celebrate with the team. Reflect is second. Plan next leap and then document and scale.
Okay, let's see where you are. Interesting, because you're a product first person.
I am.
That's it. Very interesting. And I think your vision is pretty clear. That's what it says.
I would think so.
Product and vision are your two.
Yes, it is. Product and vision, because if you have these two clear, your entire surrounding walks with you, right? Like if you have the clear vision, if you think I can take probably some of our stalwart leaders of the country, when they have a clear vision, everybody walks along and you walk together. So that's what I think my style would be.
And I'm glad you were able to
Yes, of
tell
course.
me that it was right. It's reassuring for me.
Yeah.
It's
And
very
it's very
reassuring. For me.
interesting that I've never had these kind of.
Moving into the last segment for the day, Akshika, we call this Power 30 because some key takeaways you want our listeners to have on the go, because we live in a quick commerce world, right? So if you can answer these questions for me in 30 seconds, that would be wonderful. What is the one decision that changed the trajectory of House of Rare but did not feel big at that time?
I think store experience. Because we were very concentrated on the way we want to have our store look, feel, smell, music, all of that. And we just wanted to do it because we liked it. We didn't realize that it's going to become one of the USPs of the brand. And today it is.
You were touching the senses without
Yes,
even realizing
yes,
it.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
What is something your child has said that made you pause and see yourself differently?
So there was a time, this is something which is very close to my heart. We were just sitting together and I was telling him, I'm really sorry, Mom, and this is my youngest one. I'm very sorry, Mom's not allowed around you all the time. And he's like, no, Mom, you're creating something very big.
Wow.
I am a part of that. So please just do it. And it was so beautiful that I had tears in my eyes, and it was amazing.
Just makes up for everything, right?
Absolutely. And when my older children came back and they said, Mom, you're such a better mom now that you're working full time. We love you for it. So that gives you that, empowerment. So like you really get empowered by statements like this.
Amazing. I had one such experience. I'd finished moderating an event. I came back home. I think the videos had come home.
Yeah.
My team had sent some to my husband, and I came back home. My first son just straight walked up to me. I didn't realize they'd watched it. Just walked up to me. He said, I want to be like you. I was like, wow. That every time I feel like, okay, I want to withdraw a little bit, I'm like, no, this is what I want to be at. This is what I want to be for my
Exactly. Yeah.
My God.
This whole thing of leading by example is something that is my parenting style.
In 3 words, what kind of culture are you building at House of Rare?
I would say inclusive, spirited, and independent.
Inclusive, spirited, independent. Fantastic. And I think everything that you spoke was
Resonates with
exactly
that?
in alignment with that.
Happy to hear that.
What is one idea about business or leadership you have completely changed your mind about over the years? Times are changing, right? I mean, we came in with thoughts.
I think embracing fast, so agility is very, very important. I was more of a, let's sit on the drawing board, let's plan. All that is important, but make your decisions, stop procrastinating, be agile. As agile as you are is the fastest, it's that you can walk. So agility.
Big brands today, there is CSR on one side. That's automatic. Now I think it's become a process in every big brand, or any brand for that matter. But there's something that, giving back to your culture today, right? I think one of the things that I did want to ask you about was about Rare 4. Because you're giving back to the culture in a very unique, very different, very beautiful way. And I think it speaks a lot about where your heart really is. Can you tell us a little bit about Rare 4? This is not a part of Power 30.
Right.
But this is something that was in our conversation. I felt I must ask you if you're open to talking about it.
No, I am, because it's a new, like I said, my 5th baby. And we've been in this fashion. We're immersed in fashion. And fashion is something which is very close to my heart. But there are so many more things that I've learned being in this culturally rich country, right, so far. And as a custodian of a brand or a custodian who has a face today, it's very important to recognize what your roots are. And so my thought with Refor is curating events which again engage, because I'm a very sense-oriented person, curating events which engages all your senses through the performing arts, the applied arts, then the food and the touch and the smell. So these events are about bringing all of that together and giving a very sensorial experience to the people who come in and attend this. It's just a very, very start. So I wouldn't want to expand much on it. I'd like it to unfold as it goes and comes along. But I'm very excited about it. Yeah, it's my way of giving back everything that I've resonated with or learned or associated with to this beautiful country. And that's why it's also called Refor, which is a love letter to India at the moment, yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be phenomenal, because what
I
I've
hope
heard...
so. Yeah.
I mean, it transported me as you were speaking, so I know how deeply
I hope you're able to
feel
make
for
it. Yes,
I definitely will.
yeah.
But my God, with that, Akshika, thank you so much for saying yes, because you, like you said, the word that you used, essentialism. Thank you so much for making us a part of that essentialism in your life. It means a lot.
No, I was very happy to be here. It was a very natural flow of conversation. I felt I was having coffee with a new friend.
So wonderful.
So it's nice. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much. If there was one takeaway from this podcast today, Akshika, for you?
Actually, a lot. Like I really enjoyed engaging with you. I learned a few things about myself which I may have not paid attention to. For example, the leadership style, the stress. I'm going to invite that. And it reiterates the fact that no matter how much is available, you can still make a niche out of your own dream and passion. So best of luck for your
Thank you so much. It meant the world that you were here today.
No, I was very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.